right. Well, hola Madridistas. Welcome to one of the last episodes of this La Liga season. And with all of the madness surrounding the Valencia game and all of the bullshit that went on in social media and all of the support that Vinicius got over from all around the globe, from all of the players from all of the other teams, there was a lot of positivities and surrounding this game. And Doris, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously happy that we won. It was a scrappy game, but we knew, coming into this, it's gonna be a weird game. The atmosphere is gonna be weird. Everything is gonna be weird. But I'm glad that we won. Rodrigo, with an 88-minute goal, to save us, from the draw against Rayo, which would really hurt us, in the race for the runner-up.
Is
Which
there
is
still a
really
race
sad
going
to
on?
even say.
Yeah.
For a runner-up, not but it's definitely not the same, finishing second, third, or fourth, especially when you're, a club this size. And
Yeah.
it would,
Yeah.
it would be actually embarrassing if we, finished anywhere but second at this point.
I mean, even if we had drawn this game, Atletico have a game in hand, I guess. I would be totally
Yeah.
fine if we win, finish third, but then fourth is a bit of a stretch. I don't know if I would like that. There would be riots on the Madrid streets for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
before we get into the match, I just want to like talk about all of the positivity, especially at the run up to this game. All of the Real Madrid teams, they all had Vinicius Junior jerseys on. Our team also had it on. There was a big celebration in the 20th minute, chanting "Vinny, Vinny, Vinny," and that was all great to see. But do you think enough actions have been taken so far? Have you heard about any of the arrests that have been going on?
What do you mean?
Uh,
What
so uh,
exactly?
a few of the cases got filed since Vinny went out public, and a couple of at least 3 or 4 people have been arrested with regards to all of the racist
Mm.
shit they've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other subject, and it deserves its own topic. Everything that happened with Vinicius. But for tonight, at least for my stream or whatever, the commentator was talking over the entire thing. When it happened, I was just screaming, "Just stop talking!" Because I couldn't hear anything that was happening at the stadium. I knew that they were cheering him at the 20th minute, but I didn't really hear anything other than that. But for the controversies that happened, quite a few people got arrested, and a few referees got fired, sacked, and it was about time, for something to finally happen. It is retroactive, what they did, but at least it's something, and
Yeah,
it is more than we expected, like from the entire season to happen. This isn't the first time, but at least, with 2 games to go this season, thank you for finally doing something. But Vinicius was at the stadium. He was sitting next to Florentino, and yeah, he seemed to look fine, and I'm just hoping, that he feels fine at this point. And I think Rodrigo was given a stand, with his hand
yeah,
up on his court.
yeah. All around, good game. I thought that we would finally like settle for a draw, but then the boys went on and then finally got a victory. And it's just a cherry on the cake for me. Even if we had gotten a draw, I would have been kind of happy. It wasn't there wasn't any negatives in this match for me. Like the everyone was just out there just to finish their minutes. Some people got the goals. We didn't show any sort of panic at any point in the game, so that was nice to see.
Um,
Ah, anyways,
I mean, I don't know if you heard the interview afterwards from Dani Carvajal, he was saying, you know, how the entire team wasn't really going into this game, you know, full energy, full speed, and that only after the equalizer, which we could see with our own eyes, that you know they finally woke up. And it isn't the first time this season, and you know, with 2 games to go, I'm sure the next 2 games will look exactly the same.
Oh, oh boy. I mean, at least against Rayo, you can always expect them to like come forward
Mm,
and attack us. But against
yeah.
Sevilla, I don't know. They might sit back and be up to their dirty tricks. It's gonna be hard couple of games.
Yeah, I mean, Sevilla, after all this, is actually fighting for something, and it's not relegation, you know. So
Mm.
I'm expecting them, you know, to actually do something, because you know we don't have much to play, and I'm sure the players will still, you know, give 100%, but it won't be the, you know, 101 that we like to see from them, you know. But for Sevilla, I'm expecting them to go all in, you know.
Yep, yep. All right. Before we like head into any of
And
the goal,
Bilbao also, yeah.
yeah, Bilbao.
There was,
Yeah, but before we head into the details of the game, I'll just go to some of the comments. So Archik is here.
mm.
He says, "Woohoo! Lead cut down to 11 points." I mean,
Woo! Yeah, I was laughing at that before
yeah,
when I saw that comment. Comedian.
Ashik is always there to entertain us, even when the league is lost, when pretty much everything else is lost. Yeah. Dennis is also here. He says, Hala Madrid, love the positivity, Madridistas.
Mm.
And yeah, Sunet's also here. He's like always plugging his boy Rodrigo. He says, Rodrigo sexy. Yeah, that was a pretty good goal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good goal, but it actually looked like a pass into the goal, you know. But still, really, really positive
Almost,
from
yeah.
Rodrigo, and you could see, you know, from every year that he plays now, you know, he's scoring more and more goals, and he's being more and more decisive. Even though, you know, this game was really weird for, we gotta talk about it, but it was really weird for the entire team, the entire formation. What we were trying to play was strange, even though it is something that we should be used to. It was still Rodrigo playing there and not Vinicius. As much as we like him and he knows how to play there, it's just not the same. And you know, we're gonna talk about it, but he did, you know, try the entire game, and the goal came at the perfect time. And it's actually something that you really expect from Rodrigo. It's a really Rodrigo kind of goal.
Yeah, I almost saw shades of Cruz's finishing as well on that goal, just passing it into the corner, like you said.
Yeah, pass it. Well, it was Ceballos, you know, that assisted that goal, which, you know, it does say something, but I think it was still, you know, fresh legs at that point. And
Mm.
Valverde, he was playing on the right side, but it's just not the same as it was, you know.
He hasn't been the same, man. Like, okay, before I go to any more comments, let's just touch upon Valverde's performance, right? Every time he got the ball, for me, he just passed it back or just kept the possession flowing. Whereas, like, he could have, he was isolated on the flank many times just with one man marking him. He, instead of like taking
Mm.
a man on, even Carvajal was taking men on at one point.
Yeah,
But Valverde, I don't know, man. Like, he just feels like he just run out of gas towards the end of the season. He just have
yeah.
nothing left to give.
And you said it perfectly. It's, you know, him just passing around, you know, passing back and all that, which is not something that we want from Valverde, because we know what he can do, you know, with the when he has the ball. And you know, I would say, you know, since the World Cup, he hasn't really been playing as attacking as he was. You know, he doesn't get any shots on goal anymore. He doesn't get any shots. You know, maybe some, but they usually scuff. He hasn't scored in a while, which is not a critique of him. You know, not scoring, but it's more of a, what are we trying to do with him? You know, it just feels like he has a place in the team. We just don't know what it is. It's just run, Feder, run. you know. And
Yeah,
if you score, you you score. You know, he's gonna do something. You know, but it's just not enough because I feel like he can do so much more. And you know, just having Carvajal on the right side there is just not enough. Not enough in
mm.
the attack, and he seems to try to go in the middle a bit too much, which hurts the attack on the right side, which is already atrocious.
I mean, I still can't believe in 2023 we're still having the same conversation, asking, hey, what is
Yeah,
actually Valverde's position? How are we going to get the best out of him? We've been having the same
yeah,
conversation for the past 4 years, I feel. Anyways,
yeah.
uh, Dennis says, Espanol, can you do something for me? These Atleti fans celebrating the second like it's a trophy. Well, well, well. Let's hope there's an upset on the cards. So that would be sweet. Just finishing second, like Doris said.
Mm,
That extra bit of sweetness to end the season. Ashik
yeah.
says, even the ref showed class at the end and acknowledging the race issue in a very subtle way. Did you notice anything, Doris? Do you know what Ashik is talking about?
Um, if he's talking about this ref, the only thing I saw it was him, the doing the cross and I think kissing the say no to racism thing, something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
I'm not sure. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, and Ashik also
If
says,
that is,
and
yeah,
yeah, I feel like that was it also. I did notice that as well. But Ashik also says, sublime Rodrigo and a symbolic celebration.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And Hassan is in the comments. Hey Hassan, he says Benzema scores, then gets hurt. I can't wait for this fucking season to be done already. Ah, was
But I think even before he scored, he looked, not 100%. I saw him, making a lot of faces like he was in pain, and yeah, I think it was just a matter of time in that game for him to come off anyway, and I think it was just a matter of him feeling like he did what he came here to do, which is score. Okay, I can, come off now because I think he would have come off anyway because Alvaro was getting ready,
Hmm.
and it wasn't for no reason.
Do you think he's still playing in? I mean, playing with pain because some of the commentators did say that he was just out there on the pitch for the pichichi for a chance to win the top scorer.
Yeah, I mean, individually for Benzema, I'm sure as much as players like to say that they don't care, he still cares about that. But he wouldn't come off if he didn't feel like it. And with 2 games to go, I don't think it's gonna hurt us that much. But I don't think he's either gonna stay on the bench or anything. So I think it's fine. We should just wait for the news to come out if he's really injured. But a lot of our players have been playing with pain, not just Benzema, Valverde too,
Valverde,
for example.
Modric, everyone. Ah,
Yeah.
I guess Hassan also has a comment. He says, "I don't get why Tchouaméni got dropped when he was our best midfielder in the last game." I guess this is a good segue to discuss the lineups. Was this a
Mm.
lineup that you felt was strong and capable to face Rayo?
Yes, but at the same time, this same lineup does not play the same football they did last season. Even though it's not Vinicius on the left there, and I'm sure it would have been hell for Rayo if it was Vinicius, but still, I think it's a strong lineup, and just missing Vinicius there, not playing Asensio, it would say a lot about our team if 1 or 2 players is a really a big deal against Rayo. But that said, still, Cruz and Modric is always gonna be a topic. And should they play these games? Should they not? And especially when you have Camavinga and Chouameni not playing, and Rudiger playing at left back, which actually worked all right, not amazing, but it worked all right. But maybe it's just a team, we cannot judge on one game. Uh, But all in all, it was a strong lineup in theory. But if you compare it with their highs, this wouldn't be you know one of
The,
those. I would say, but it's
yeah,
still they won the game, so not much to say. And for Modric, last few games and since the World Cup, actually he hasn't been amazing, right? But last few games, it's just been painful to watch the balls that he loses, and he seems to be frustrated with himself too. And I'm frustrated that people, only blame that on the age. Like people cannot have crappy games, crappy seasons, but still, when you're old, there isn't much to forgive there.
yeah,
So for Kroos and Modric to play, I'm actually not surprised if this might be their last few games or last season or the season afterwards. So I'm not surprised that they're playing because it's still uncertain some things. But you know, as strong as the lineup is, we shouldn't be at this position.
yeah. I mean, it wasn't the usual attacking lineup, like you said, with Asensio playing, and then we usually see Valverde in the midfield, maybe Camavinga at left back. That's our best attacking lineup this season, right? And this was a very solid setup to avoid conceding any surprise goals. But did that really work out for us? Did you feel like we had Rayo like pocketed in defense, or was it an open game?
Uh, Pocketed, absolutely not. But one player I would have to say that really stood out for me was Alaba. He played a really good game, and I think he kind of went under the radar, this game, especially Rayo. Their shots were mostly outside of the box, or really powerful shots, which as tough as they are, to defend, it's not really up to the defender 100%. But still, we didn't concede from those kinds of goals, which was okay, kinda, the goal that Rayo scored, but still, everything else that Alaba did in the defense, I think, was perfect.
Mm.
Rudiger too was really good.
Oh
And
yeah,
we saw, like, as soon as Rudiger came off, it was many, and might be unfortunate for him, but it was kind of his fault for the goal.
kind of his fault. I mean, it was completely his fault. Like if you're at the edge of your
Yeah,
box,
but
you can afford to
true,
sit back a
true.
bit. But if you're defending it well inside your box, you must go for the man. And I feel like he was just too slow to react.
That is completely true. The only thing I would give him is like the second he came on, he just came on and they scored. So that's the only reason why I'm giving it to him. If this happened in the middle of the game, it would have been, come on, man, for Chouameni.
Oh my. And it always had to be a former Madridista who had to score, Raul Thomas. Ah, anyways,
um,
so how did you think
Tina
we
Turner
spoke
just died.
who died?
I just saw the Tina Turner just died. I just saw the message from my friend. It just for a second it just, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, yeah, you're ready to talk
rest in peace,
about that.
Tina. No, I'm I'll get over it. It was just a shock for a second.
Right, right.
Rest in peace, Tina.
Yeah, for me,
Mm.
like the only big surprise in the lineup was Nacho playing in the second back position and Rudiger playing out left. We spoke about Alaba
Yeah,
and Rudiger, but how did Nacho do? I feel like he had a very up and down game. Sometimes he had a few dangerous passes, which could have led into something big, but then Alaba, he was so calm in possession today, and he just got out of every
mm.
single situation.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. As I said, Alaba was the stand-up player for me, but I don't think anyone in our defense did, a bad job. Carvajal is, to me, the more up and down player, at least in the recent games, with the yellows and possible reds. And I saw some media and some people were actually asking for Carvajal to be sent off again this game. uh, it was for like a late challenge, a late leg or something. I'm not sure who it was on, but still, uh, Nacho deserved, his minutes, and still he did well. But it's still gonna be a big question for next season. What's gonna happen with Nacho? And I'm not sure this game is gonna really change any opinions on what happens with Nacho.
Yeah, yeah. We'll come to know at the end of the season. Um,
Oh yeah,
but
and the Militao wasn't injured, right? He was just rested.
yeah,
I
looks
didn't
like.
see any news. Mm.
And the other standout for this match was, of course, Camavinga starting. I feel like he had a really good game. He didn't have any of his usual
Yeah,
slips that we're used to seeing. He didn't get a yellow card. Isn't that a fucking surprise? He didn't get a yellow.
yeah. Only one kind of slip when he passed to Cruz at the edge of our box, and
Mm,
it was a foul on Cruz, but it could have been, really, really, really dangerous for Camavinga there. But
mm,
yeah, it wasn't completely his fault. Some of that was Cruz, but thankfully he got a free kick there. But yeah, as you were saying, Kamavinga did play tonight, but I was actually expecting Tchouaméni to finally play, at his position. And when you look at Kamavinga, Modric, and Kroos at the positions that they played tonight, it was just, I don't understand why Tchouaméni didn't deserve a spot tonight. I feel like still it was unnecessary to play both Cruz and Modric, especially when you have both Camavinga and Valverde kinda in the midfield.
mm.
But yeah,
No, but today's position of Camavinga was interesting, wasn't it? Because sometimes we used to seeing him play on the left. Sometimes we used to see
Mm.
him play on the right. Where do you think he actually steps up? For me, when he plays on the right, he has those long diagonals into the box, right? That's where his
Yep.
strongest ball is, and love seeing that. But apart from that, I feel like when he plays on the left, he carries the ball way better.
Yeah. Uh, exactly what you said. I mean, the crosses that he does on the right side, it was kind of what he did against City, and today
Yeah.
he did basically the exact same one, but Rodrigo didn't get to it. And he has been doing those consistently when he is playing on that side or in the midfield, not as a left back, but as a left back, he really proved, not as a midfielder, but as a left back, he really proved what a threat he is on the wing.
Yeah.
And as a midfielder, I feel like he's more reserved with doing that, which is strange because here he's playing in the defense and he's less careful than he is when he's playing at the midfield, which is fine, okay. But he plays very differently, in regards to where he's playing. Even on the left side, it feels different when he's a midfielder and when he's a left back,
Yeah.
which is actually really not using his potential to the fullest. And that's not, on Ancelotti. It's more on Camavinga, where he needs to learn to take the best parts of himself from each side.
Mm. Anyways, so what's confirmed and for sure for all of the Madridistas to see is that he's going to be a mainstay in the midfield for next season. Whoever comes, whoever leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I don't even want to think about the transfer window right now. it's
Mm.
it's just, it's like a labyrinth, just with nowhere to go at this point.
I mean, speaking about the transfer window, we have a couple of comments addressing it. So Sunit says, I told Batman last year, that we needed to rest Benz long enough for him to be sharp, sharp for the big time. And we didn't get to see that version of Benz. He was basically run to the ground last month, and when against City, he was just running on fumes. So Ashik says, apparently, we are going to get Raul de Thomas for as a backup. He is at the tender age of 33, it seems. So much future ahead of him. SMH.
Yeah. Uh, I don't. it, it's just no, no. I'm not gonna give in. I'm not gonna give in. Next question.
Next question. There are no questions. I mean, I can totally see that happening.
I mean,
It's not
next
even a joke at
comment.
this point.
Yeah, that would
Anyways.
just be painful. I mean, it's actually sad that we're actually looking for Endrick. You
Hmm.
know, that's so far in the future. You know, with no one to replace Benzema. You know, with Mariano in the team, thankfully leaving, but you know,
No,
he
but
was supposed to be the one.
would you agree that Raul de Thomas could be an upgrade over Mariano?
Uh, Sorry?
Do you feel like Raul de Thomas he could be an upgrade over Mariano if he did come?
I mean, he's definitely gonna cost less, and he definitely has more experience. So I would definitely say that he would be better for us than Mariano would be, because Mariano is just Mariano. You know, there's just nowhere to go with him, and there's no point in even no. It's not even me being rude or something. It's just no point even in discussing him. Even if he had like 1 or 2 or 3 more years on his contract right now, I wouldn't even think about him.
Hmm.
Mm, he wouldn't even come across my mind. He's just like a bug on the wall. That you wanna but it's just gonna splat everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's no point.
Hmm.
But but if the only reason I would be for Raul to come here would be if we're gonna get someone else, but that's not gonna happen. And if Raul is supposed to replace Benzema, that is what 35, that's 2 years older than him. What, for 2 more years so that Enrique can come to what immediately start for us? Who's gonna play for us? Oh yeah,
I
it's
don't know,
just
man.
you see why I get
Frustrated. Yeah, yeah,
annoyed
yeah.
by this.
The thing is, even if nobody comes, I can still feel like Ancelotti is gonna say, "We have a deep enough squad. Asensio can play there. Rodrigo can play there. Why do we need another striker?"
But
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
when you need a striker in the Champions League, when you need a striker to win leagues, it's not Asensio, it's not Rodrigo. I'm sorry, it's just not.
yeah,
I love you, Ancelotti. I like what he's done with this club. I want him to still stay, and that's controversial. But I think there's still, things to play out there. We'll see. But with those kinds of things, with our squad depth and his comments about that, it boils my blood. It just boils my blood. And at some parts of our uh, lineup and our field, we have an abundance of players, but striker is not one of them.
mm,
Right wing is not one of them. Fullbacks is not one of them. So don't talk to me about squad depth. Like, if you have an abundance of players in one position, that's not squad depth. That's just having players in your team, that can play in a
yeah.
position.
Well,
But
I don't
yeah,
know what to
squad
say.
depth, yeah, screw that.
I feel like we're never
But
gonna like solve this issue. You know why? It's because of fucking Jovic, man. He ruined the backup striker position for us, and the board is now wary of even spending like 20, 30 million on anyone.
who? Jovic.
Look, yeah, Jovic. So I feel like we're just not getting another backup striker who is a bit subpar just because of that reason. We feel like we just
Okay,
can't. Yeah,
okay, but still, Jovic hasn't been here this whole season. He's at Fiorentina now. We still have Mariano, that hasn't changed. So the thing about Jovic hasn't changed. He just left. We only have Benzema. There's no excuse. It's not Jovic's fault. He left. That's basically all that he could have done. For us to actually get someone to get a a Beckham, so I wouldn't agree that it's his fault for us not getting a
No, no,
Beckham.
I'm
As a
not
matter
like
of
talking
fact, I
about
think
him. Hmm,
it's actually on him. And thank you, Jovic, for leaving. For having a spot there for us. And so, if we had him this season, I think it would have been actually,
Oh no, I was just
yeah,
commenting that the board is pretty wary of spending maybe 50, 40 million on another backup striker when they know that most of the time it's Benz who's going to play. And the, I feel like that's true for a certain
and it's
instance
just
because
I guess the mistrust of leaving that position with the question mark, I think, from our board. I guess they're willing to, not really, because we see how difficult we try out things,
exactly.
but it's never really in that position. It's never really with strikers. I mean, Benzema has been playing there for how many years, and it hasn't changed, and it probably won't change until he leaves.
Yeah, that's what I feel the same. Even if Raul de Thomas comes, he's not going to play. We're not going to give Benzema rest in most of the league games. So just forget about that. Not sure if we can still do that sustainably and manage Benzema's minutes. And if that goes on for next season as well, I'm pretty sure he's gonna break down in the middle of the season, and we should
Oh
probably
yeah,
wait.
definitely, one thousand
Yeah,
percent.
yeah,
And it
uh,
has happened before.
yeah.
It has happened this season already, right? That he had kind of a breaking point,
Yeah.
and it hurt him for Pichichi, I would say. He had a chance there. He missed a few games.
Mm.
He couldn't really catch up to Lewandowski there, but that's really unimportant now.
I mean, it just takes a couple of hat tricks in the next two games. That is
Exactly.
okay.
Nothing
Anyways,
we're not used to from Karim.
yeah, yeah. And Tasil Aliba says, I really don't want to be pessimistic, but I feel like we are going to ask ourselves next season why we are chasing Barcelona and or Atletico when the individual brilliance doesn't work and we drop points like this season.
Hmm. I think next season we're gonna take the season and the league much more seriously than we did this season. I think this season, we won the Champions League, we won the league. I think the players, they were going for it until they weren't going for it. They was just okay. I don't think anyone is mad at anyone, that we didn't win the Champions League or the league. I don't think anyone, the board, Ancelotti, the players, I don't think anyone is mad at that.
Mm.
So I think it's unfair to judge anything really that happens from this point on for the players.
No, but I feel like Tasaliba is pointing towards another problem, right? It's with Carlo Ancelotti's management. So let's say we get a couple of new players. We're still going to see the same football. We're going to depend on individual brilliance to get us out of these games.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is that this is not going to be sustainable over the course of the whole period. And we gotta
Mm.
be a system team. We gotta have a plan B, and we're just not gonna have that if individual plans fails.
Yeah, 1000%. And we've seen it for the last two seasons, or a season and almost two, um, from Ancelotti. And we've seen that he doesn't really like to change out his players. But I think we have two or three or four, like, uh, destinations we can go to, at the end of the season. One is, if Ancelotti leaves. One is if Ancelotti stays. One is if we get, I don't know, Jude Bellingham. One is if we don't. One is if we get a striker. One is if we don't. So we need to get all those variables, to actually judge next season, especially if Ancelotti is gonna stay or not. I think that's like the biggest thing we have to really
Mm,
think about, because getting a new manager is like, okay, we start over. We do everything, uh, from start all over again. Not everything. Some things are gonna stay the same, but I think if Ancelotti stays, or if Ancelotti is out, that's the biggest thing. And when we know for sure if he's staying or not, then we can really talk about, our expectations and who we want to get at which position. Because at this point, and knowing Ancelotti, it's really difficult to get anything out of him. That's one thing. And second, we know that he doesn't really sign players, at least in the last 2 seasons. Only the ones maybe that he can give, for free, and that he would need, like Alaba and Rudiger, players like that. But still, when you get about Liga, many, it's strange to think about Ancelotti that he doesn't think about the future. But then you have fucking Benzema in the team, not having anyone, to replace him. Then you have Carvajal in the team, having no one to replace him. So yeah, Ancelotti in, Ancelotti out. When it happens, we're gonna talk about it. Yeah.
Heck yeah, I agree. But yeah, before we like head into more comments, let's like discuss both of the goals.
Mm.
So the first goal, did you feel like there was any controversy involved? The Rayo players were all around the referee trying to get something out of it, but do you think there was a fair shout against it?
Uh, I didn't hear you.
Oh,
Cut out.
can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah, I
audible?
can hear. Just yeah, just my internet is.
Got it, got it. Okay. I was just saying for the first goal, the Rayo players were surrounding the referee. They said, hey, there
Yeah.
was something wrong with the goal. Did you see anything in it, or was it a totally valid goal?
So I think, as everyone else, I wasn't paying attention. So when it happened, I saw that something happened, and they showed the replay. It was a drop ball, so it's controversial, and I understand it. I think everyone understands the intentions of both teams. A lot of people would understandably, be angry at Madrid. They're angry at everything. This would especially be one thing, how bad of a team we are or whatever. But when the referee dropped the ball, it was to Cruz, I think.
Yeah.
The entire intention was, okay, let's go. Let's restart the game. It wasn't a drop ball where players are fighting for it. It wasn't a drop ball where anyone was even contesting the ball. So it's understandable that they just went forward, because there was no anyone running at you to just play it back, which you could say that from the beginning you should do that. But it's gonna be a story in the news tomorrow. 1000%.
I mean, for me, I feel like the Rayo players had nothing to complain about because all of those, they had almost 8 men behind the ball at that point, and they just weren't focused enough to actually defend the goal.
True.
We only had
Yeah,
like
and
three players attacking the goal, and they had 8 players behind the ball. They
mm,
just didn't focus
also
enough.
the referee blew the whistle, and it took a few seconds after that the play started. It wasn't just like you go and then everything just happened, at
Mm,
once. I mean, it was fast, but all the players were already back, which, it's controversial, and I understand it. And maybe if it was against us, we would be talking differently about it and calling someone else, how can you do that and all that. So yeah, it's controversial but understandable from both
yeah.
teams.
Mm.
I would be contesting it too if I was Rayo. I would be defending it too if I was Madrid.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't the last of the controversies, was it? We let's go into the
Yeah.
second half where who was it that played the pass to Rodrigo? Was it Cruz? And then it
Well,
wasn't. So in the second
oh,
half,
but he fell down.
it's not the fa falling down part. Okay, yeah, that happened in the first half. Rodrigo lost his footing. It was a Bernabeu ground. You can't blame him.
True, true, true.
Man, I
But
hope they
he's
fix
a
the damn
ground
grass. Yeah, I
monster.
don't. Yeah, I don't want to sound like Xavi, but I hope they really fix the grass next season.
Choppy look. But yeah, I'm not sure what pass you're talking about
So
from
there was a pass in the
the
second
second
half
half.
where Cruz played it to Rodrigo. Rodrigo was almost through, but then he wasn't actually offside, and the referee immediately blew for offside. The referees are supposed to wait for the uh, play to
Mm,
progress, and finally, if they're totally sure that it's offside, then they should blow it. But the
yeah.
referees just forgot to do that. I feel like that was the only other refereeing mistake that I saw this game.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I don't remember that. I don't know if I even saw that when my eyes were looking. I was kind of, in my own mind while the game was playing. But it's not something that's strange for La Liga, but it's not something that's strange for football in general. And we're gonna be talking about it for some time more. But we've shown improvements in that aspect, with having VR and actually, having them, let the play be played and all that. And it was a mistake from the referee for not letting that happen. But we're in that sense, I think we're on the right track, with letting the plays be played. But it is, a mistake from the referee for not, doing that.
yeah. And before we
And what happens,
discuss,
when the referee does a mistake like that? Absolutely nothing,
there are no consequences. There's no accountability in this league about no referee gets suspended. Everyone is super protected. VAR doesn't
Mm.
help. So I don't know. No answers. Anyways, before we discuss the next goal, I'll read some of the comments here. So Ashik says, Rayo Vallecano can complain all they want. They were sent in their RV today by the Rodrigo Masterclass. So
Yeah.
it's not even a bus at this point. It was an RV.
Mm.
Hmm. And XJ, he's new. He's here in the comments. He says, I was at first resistant of Bellingham, but he's ultimately for the club a marquee signing. Us having England's arguably best young talent is a commercial and sporting move if we do sign him.
Yeah, XJ, there's one thing that, like, everything about Jody is perfect. Like, we know he's a perfect player. Everyone would want him in their team. And this is not about Manny, Camavinga, Valverde, anyone on our team. It's just about Jude being so young and English. Like, I'm actually, not so happy about that, because you would expect us that we would get him at his prime, you know and can we really expect, Jude to stay here for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 more years, when he's 25, 26, 27, when he should be playing at his best, or maybe even to his 30s? I don't think we really can, and at his best times, or when he's gonna be the best, we're gonna be forced to sell him, to Liverpool or City or someone like that. So I'm not actually really thrilled about that. I would actually like him to go there and then come here. That would sound a lot more than like Madrid, and something that we would actually want, because I'm actually really afraid with him being so young that he would leave, before he really should. We cannot really expect Jude to be Modric and play here when he's 38. We have to be
Hmm.
realistic about that. So we should also be careful about that, and we are selling to our biggest competition when we are selling him. So there are a lot of things to think about. I'm not so, thrilled about Jude.
You actually don't think he's at his prime? What do you think can be improved in Jude's game?
Okay, um, first of all, he's so young, so it's difficult to say that it is his prime.
Yeah,
Most players are better when they grow up a bit. There have been some players that have been incredible, when they were in their early 20s, and Jude is one of those players. But with not, how would you say that, Baba Yaga, with that can, predict the future and what he's gonna be like and what he's gonna do. At this
yeah.
point, he's great. He plays great, and it is normal to expect that player to be even better when he grows up. It would be strange from us to expect that he's playing at his best right now and that he's gonna get worse, or just stagnate and be the same. I mean, he is great right now, but you know at some point when we sell him, and maybe if we get him for like 7 8 years or 10, like Mudrik or something like that,
Mm,
which is not gonna happen. I don't think it's a good idea to get him right now at this point
mm,
in time. And for Jude, I think if he's even thinking about it, he is if he's gonna play in the Premier League, he is at some point gonna go to La Liga, to Madrid or whatever. So I would rather do it then than do it now.
mm. So that's interesting, right? Would you have rather gotten Gundogan maybe 3, 4 years ago that he wasn't at his prime, or would you get him now when he's at his prime?
Well, which one is his prime then?
This is, of course, his prime,
um,
man. Like, he's playing out of
yeah,
his mind,
I know,
but the
I know,
problem is that he just doesn't have the future that we're looking for, right? And with these midfielders, that's
exactly.
always going to be the case. These guys are going to peak at the age of like 30, 31, maybe.
I'm sorry.
And
How old is he? Do you know
Gundogan,
his age exactly? No.
Gundogan, I think is 32, maybe going on 33 right now.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, we cannot really expect him, right now. And I don't think we should even really be thinking about it.
Mm,
It would actually be. I don't. I don't even think it's normal that anyone is even mentioning that. Having Chua manager Kaba being there. What is the point? Just getting Gundogan there to play what a year or two after City, and after he's been known for City, and he will always be known for that. So I don't know, just some names that have been thrown around are really strange to me, and I don't think for at least for Jude, I don't think people are thinking about it hard enough. I think people just want a marquee signing right now and someone. But for Jude specifically, I don't think it's a good idea. As good of a player he is, and I might bite my tongue. Maybe he does stay here for a long time, and how would you say, like rips through the league and the Champions League with us, wins everything. But we have to be realistic about
yeah.
things, and especially about the money that we would pay for him.
Mm,
With him maybe actually leaving at some point. I mean,
yeah.
we could sell him for probably more, but that's not something that we are, striving for. We're not here for money. We're here for greatness, and we won't want him to stay.
Yeah.
And it's just
Well,
not realistic.
well said. Yeah, XJ also agrees with you. He says, I see your point, but maybe if he does go to the Premier League now, he'll never come back to La Liga. He is English, better now than ever, never. I also think the pressure for him personally is less in Spain. Is the
Sorry?
pressure less in, like he just
Oh, the
says
pressure
that,
less in Spain.
yeah,
I think it's for different things,
mm,
and we all know that. In Spain, you play for the league, but if you don't win, no one's gonna care. No one's gonna know. Like for the Premier League, everyone knows who won, and
yeah,
is gonna remember a few years. Like I think like most Premier League fans don't even know like 2 or 3 or 4 years back who won La Liga, and for Bundesliga, they only know because it's always the same club. For Serie A, I don't think they even, know to count 4 teams in Serie A. That's
mm,
disrespectful. I'm sorry, but you know, you see what I mean. So for Jude, he would be, going for Champions League here only, and greatness in there. So actually, you know, one thing that could happen and is a possible future, like Doctor Strange, seeing all the futures, uh, 1 million and how many. But it could also be something that is happening with City or him, like as a player being something like City, having so much greatness in the Premier League, and at some point you just want that damn Champions League. So
yeah,
it might be something like that. But I saw a comment from Ashik. He said, "You called Jude perfect player. No, Modric is the perfect player, and until he retires, no other." I just wanted to clarify what that meant. As a perfect player, I meant as a perfect transfer, not as a perfect player. You know, as a actually as a perfect player that you will want in your team, so young and all that. But Modric is only 17, so it's hard to compete with.
Hmm. Two young players battling it out.
Yeah, for minutes.
But yeah, to that point about the pressure being on Bellingham. So we're probably going to pay like 120, 130 million for him. And from day one, I feel like the Spanish media is going to be on him, on his ass. If he misplaces a pass, if he does something in training, they're going to be on to him like a hawk. And especially with these foreign players, uh, for fuck's sake, the Spanish media called Modric a flop, and I can totally see that happening too with Bellingham. If even minor things go wrong in this first season,
I think there's also a possibility of a complete opposite thing to happen, where everything that our team does is gonna be because of Jude, because he's English, and look at this English player, look at him doing this in this team, and
yep.
that's also one thing, But if that happens, it's a different story. But I would not like that to happen, definitely. With the
Hmm.
English media, and it's really rude. It sounds rude when you're talking about it, but I'm sure they know too what we're talking about and what they would feel like. And a lot of football is covered by English media, so it wouldn't be surprising for Jude.
Yep, totally. All right. Let's get into the second goal. I mean, the equalizer. So do you feel like that goal could have, we already discussed that Chaumini was at fault, but even before that, do you think we could have actually stopped the ball from coming into the box?
um yeah, it was the kind of goal that we like to score, and Vinicius has shown that he can score those kinds of goals, on his right. But was it preventable? I think most goals are, and especially most goals that we concede are preventable. But for that one, uh it's the kind of goal that happens. Someone takes a good shot. It was a good shot. It was a powerful shot. If we scored it, it would have been nice job, good job, Vinicius, or whoever it was. But for prevention of that, you have to look at the entire game, because that's not the first time that a player will take a shot. It's just that that one will go through. And it
Yeah.
was just unfortunate for Trump. Many like the second he came on the pitch, he just took a shot, and it went through his legs. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Not going to get into Chaumini just because he told me that he just got onto the pitch. All right, let's like get into the final goal then. So it all started with the counter attack. Chaumini started it. Chaumini passed it over to Ceballos and he squared it off to Rodrigo. And Ceballos had a couple of really good passes this game, didn't he? We all talked
Hmm.
about. There's always a question mark hanging over his contract situation and everything. But do you think with the arrival of Bellingham, we will actually need Ceballos or we won't? Because in certain matches like this, he is the key to actually opening up any defense.
I keep saying this. He is Spanish. He's probably not going anywhere unless we're really, really gonna promote players, which is really doubtful. And still, even if we do promote Spanish players, he's still a Spanish player, which is a different layer in our players, and it's a different thing when you do transfers with those kinds of players, and especially when you can get some money for them, maybe kinda.
Hmm.
If you place him well, at the market. But for Ceballos, I think he's still gonna stay, even though personally I'm not a huge fan of his game. Not for like most of his game and his play style, mostly for the decisions that he makes. Especially shooting when he shouldn't be. You have no right to take some shots. I don't understand how he even thinks to do those, and why is no one even telling him like, dude, just stop, dude, stop. There's no point. You don't have a shot like that. Just stop doing those. He wasted so many balls just going sky high outside of the stadium, and it pisses me off honestly for Ceballos. But other things that he does, he has those moments, but then at the other parts, how do you forget the Champions League final and him scrapping that ball? How do you forget, some so many games where he's like right in front of the goal, just pass it to someone, and he just either tries to take a shot or just scraps it somewhere. So
Yeah.
like there are moments in the game where he does well, but there are some moments where goddamn Ceballos just I don't know. It really
Mm.
that player is really, and I think Sanai has a lot to say about him too.
Mm.
I like him, but still, and then the diving sometimes, oof, oof. Even today, Rayo was attacking us for no reason. Ceballos was on the floor. Like you're actually wasteful that way for no reason. No one touched him. He just fell down. And if they scored, it would have been completely his fault. First of all, for distracting our own players with nothing that happened, it wouldn't be called, and then someone would score, and it was actually in a dangerous situation. It was just literally him standing and just falling down, and it's not the
Mm.
first time he did that.
Yeah.
And in the
Yeah.
attack, when he sees that he's gonna lose the ball, he doesn't, try to, do something, that one last, finger on it, to do it. He just falls down. And how you're not calling it, ref? How you not call? It pisses me off. Like we're talking about Vinicius when it's Ceballos doing that every single game,
Mm.
when he actually has no reason to do it. And it sounds like I hate him. I don't hate Ceballos. It's just like there are moments in his games like he needs to get his shit together because he is playing for a contract. He is playing for a spot, and understand that he wants to prove himself. But taking shots and falling down is just not it, brother. Not it, brother.
Yeah. And before like I say something, I just want to point out Ashik's comment. He says, "No business attempting a shot. Yes, Doris, we missed you. That passionate Ceballos run just made my day."
Thank you, Ashley. Exactly.
Yeah, man, but I guess I agree with XJ over here. So he says that we still need to retain the midfield depth. And you know where I feel we can actually fit in
Mhm.
Ceballos? We can, whenever we need to give Toni Kroos a rest. I feel like if he plays a bit back, he's in more than energetic enough to come back on defense and to actually help circulate the ball. But he still won't be, he shouldn't probably be involved in all of our counterattacks or all of our plays in the final third because we know he's not used to making the most best of decisions. He either loses the ball by over dribbling, or he like makes a shot or passes it to nowhere. But when he is playing deep, I feel like he has enough passing range to actually unlock a defense.
Yeah, but all of that is on like a really low level. It's something that you would expect from a professional player, not for
Mm.
someone special, for something. You're a professional football player. You should be doing those runs. Like it's like judging him like by a default player in FIFA.
Yeah,
Something
I
like
mean
that.
the bar is so
But
low
for
that
Ceballos.
I mean think of it this way: he's going to be a rotational player. He's not going to start in any of the major games. That's for sure. And
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think the only reason we are talking about this is because he is saying something like he doesn't know where he's gonna go or something like that. We wouldn't even be talking about this because we would consider him, a squad player that he's gonna get his time when he does. It's only because he is the one mentioning it. When I don't know how the man can even compare himself, even in the future. I don't know what he would have to do to replace Cruz or
mm,
Modric or Casemiro or any player that we had in the history of this club. Mostly, from our midfielders, like from so many greats, and even as a substitute, how many great substitutes have we had? And for our future, let's say Jude is not coming. So we have Camavinga, Chouameni, and Valverde in the midfield. He's not better than either of them, and none of them are as good as Cruz or Modric were, you know, at their age.
Agreed. He's not going
So
to be starting any game soon, any major game soon at least. But
mm,
he's good to have as a
maybe
rotation piece,
tomorrow.
just like Asensio.
Yeah. Uh, and again, both for Asensio, we're only talking about it because they are talking about it. But I think we would all be happy with them staying.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
every fan from Madrid.
And yeah, we have Rahul in the comments. He says, "Hey," he's just gloating about Atleti's second place.
Mm. Yeah, I see he retracted a message. That's very brave of you, Raul. But yeah, we'll talk at the end of the season, Raul. Not done yet. Not done yet.
Yeah, I guess Dennis is totally fed up with Atleti fans because he says, "Look at Rahul in the chat. Celebrate your second place trophy." Uh,
Dennis, have you met Raul? Have you seen him in the chat before? It's
of
what he
course,
does. He
yeah.
likes it. He likes those trophies. Let him be. Let him be. Just let him be. Don't
Well,
mention it. Be the better man. As I say.
mm. All right. All right. Before we go, I also wanted to like talk one like note observation from this match. So Carvajal pretty much summed it up, right? We didn't play out to our 100%. We just wanted to see out this game and get a tiny victory. But then, do you feel like in the final moments when we are trying to get our winning goal, it was a different approach to what we're usually seeing, right? Usually we kind of tend to panic. We send the ball to the wings, try to cross it to nowhere, or pass it back and recirculate. But in this game, I feel like we were a bit more calmer. Uh, I'll just pose a
Mm.
scenario to you. So 10 minutes left to go in the game. Would you rather see an all-out attack with a couple more strikers coming on, or would you rather see this type of play where it's more calm and composed and we're trying to actually hit them on the counter or whatever?
With 10 minutes to go,
10 minutes to go.
are
Yeah.
we trailing or are we up?
Oh yeah, we're trying to get the winning goal.
All right. Well, first of all, for the second part, I don't think there's anything calm and collected about about the way we play. So first, I have to stop you there. There's nothing calm about our defense and collected about our defense. That's one thing. So I would definitely not want to play that way, and it is something that we've been talking about for months or even years, for our defense to just stop, relax, be calm, be collected. But. I would definitely want to see more attackers, and it's definitely something that we are better at. And with having players like Federico, that goes forward, that goes back, that runs so much, basically being an engine. It is actually, I think, better for us to play, with attackers than play like this, and especially because when we play like this, we really need that one magical moment, to happen, which is just unsustainable. And we've been talking about this for, this is, uh, uh, we've known each other here on this podcast for 2 seasons now,
Yeah.
and it's been basically, the talking point for most of our podcasts. Just, so yeah, we play like this now, so there's really no point to talk about it unless we get a change with Ancelotti or new players or something like that. But we're hopefully next season, guys, when you watch us, this won't be the main talking point again.
All right. Do you have anything else to discuss about the match, or like, should we wind this up?
You were saying?
Oh no, like I was just asking, like, do you have anything else to talk about in this match? Anything noticeable, or should we just wind this up?
um Not really. um I was gonna say something before, but I forgot what it was like
Come
before
on, darlings.
the match started. So yeah,
Ah.
dang it. Oh yeah, the femenino.
Hmm.
Uh, we are winning. I think it's the nine. Oh, it's full time right now. It's 4-0 for Madrid, and we are in the final against Raú's Atletico. And
Woohoo!
whoop, whoop. Atletico hasn't conceded a single goal in the entire Copa del Arena, and Madrid has only conceded one. It was against Villarreal. So it's it will be a lot for the game, and I hope that you guys will be watching it. I hope that I will get time to watch it too. I think we don't talk about it enough, and we don't watch it enough. But yeah, happy for our team. They are in the final. They are playing Atletico, and we can only hope for the win. A 4-0 win against Bilbao right now is definitely something to be happy about and hopeful about. So yeah, let's go for a trophy, before the season ends.
Yeah, yeah. And just to add, guys, even if you don't like catch the match, you should definitely go and see the Weir and Toletti goals. Both were fucking golazos.
Mm,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, Arctic says no one is talking about Caroline Weir's sweet Caroline, my little baby girl, adopted daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, just okay. What's up with the little
Mm.
baby girl? I don't know. I don't know.
But
Uh,
yeah, something to be hopeful for this season. Let's support our female players and our female team. It's actually exciting for them, and the league is young, the club is young, everything is young about it. So should be really really happy for them. And as Jacob said, go watch the goals.
yeah, yeah. Dennis says, big up our women team. Fuck Atleti women or men's team. A la Madrid. Okay, yeah, well
Yeah.
said. All right, guys, if you are still here, don't forget to smash the like on the video. I know there's 7 of you here in the chat already. Even those 7 likes, they're gonna totally help us out, carry this forward. And if anyone's new, XJ, if you haven't already subscribed, do hit subscribe. And yeah, you can also catch us on all of the ad audio platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and whatnot. Thank you for all of the listeners over there too. You're showing us a lot of love. We totally appreciate it. And if you want even more Madridista content, do check out our Instagram and our Instagram partners over at Real Madrid Committee. And heck yeah, there's you know what to say.
Take care, guys, and a la Madrid.
I love Madrid.